It's your favorite show on Safe TV, Where's the Truckin' Instructions, with your host, me. How you doing, everybody? Good to see you. It's even better to see me, right? Okay. So today we have a very special show for you. We're going to have a special guest. Still want to give Lonnie Lieber a shout out for his last guest appearance on the other show. It was really, really good. But today we have a very special guest. You love her, you know her, your director of safety. Give it up for Ms. Sarah Cates. Say hi, Sarah.
Hello. Yes. Hi.
No, you should have said hi, Sarah. You just blew the whole thing.
All right.
But that's all right. Let's get on with the show. So, I think today, instead of me just sitting here talking about stuff, this is Sarah's opportunity to interview me today. So that's what we're going to do. Sarah's going to ask me some questions. I'm going to answer them. And hopefully you guys will learn something today.
You ready for some hardball?
I'm ready for some hardball.
All right. So, topic is load securement. We could spend a whole video series on this. But down to the basics, how does a driver determine which type of load securement that you need to use?
So lots of loads vary depending on how the load is loaded. That's the first thing you want to look at. If you have a load that is lined straight down the middle of the trailer, maybe it's pallets, maybe it's steel or plastic tubs, that tells me right there that load can go all kinds of different directions. It can go forward, it can go side to side. Maybe one pallet goes this way, one pallet goes that way. Perfect way to stop that from happening, two things. Anti-skid mats underneath the pallets or the tubs, and or blocking and bracing. If you can do both, that's even better. But both are very good ways to secure that load. The blocking and bracing particularly, because you're going to take 2x4s and put them right up tight against either side of the freight and literally pound nails into them so that freight can't go either way. If that load isn't all the way up against the header board, I'll put one across the front as well. And now it can't go. Those pallets or those tubs can't slide because those trailer floors can be really, really slick. The older they get, the dustier and dirtier and everything else, that stuff just turns into basically ice. If you've got double stacked pallets, for instance, cargo straps can be very helpful in that, especially on a double stacked pallet. That can keep those top pallets from falling backwards. Very important if that load is near the back of the trailer, because you don't want to open those doors and have, 1,800 Bud Light bottles fall out on top of your head.
You laugh, but we've seen
I laugh,
but
we've had that happen down in, I think it was Columbus, where we would haul empty Bud Light bottles into a warehouse.
Really?
And they would have signs there, please open your doors with caution, because they would fall out.
Oh yeah, we have the stickers on the back of our doors. We don't do it just because we're bored and wanting to go put signs on
Right,
equipment.
yeah.
It's like every other warning you see. It's there for a reason.
Yep.
So you mentioned straps, and we've got a couple here for examples. When you are inspecting your straps, what types of things are you looking for? Because I know in one of the previous videos we talked about, when you're using straps, always inspect them. But I think we got some good examples here to go off of.
Yes. One of the big things you're always looking for is frays, especially on the edges of the strap. Right, that right there, that is weakness. So any cuts, if there's a slice there,
This one, what about that there?
Yep, that one there, it's frayed, it's starting to come apart. So anytime you see any of that just means the webbing's coming apart and it's lost its integrity.
I know. Okay, so another example here. I know it's toward the end, but what would you say about something like that? It's hard to see on film, but it's like a stretched point in there. I mean, is that any concern?
Again, it's the webbing coming apart.
Okay.
So that just is weakness in the strap. And maybe you wouldn't always use it all the way to the end, but there may be times you do have to use it all the way to the end.
Okay, yeah. thinking of, people in the shop and some of the drivers. Are you telling me like literally we are going to throw this out?
Well, keep in mind, straps are 2 sections. So you've got the ratchet end, and then you've got the other end that feeds through the ratchet.
So this one would feed into this one.
So if one end is bad but the other end's good, you can keep the other end.
Okay.
And
so
we can just replace the one end.
Half of
Yep.
it. Okay.
Yep.
And I'm not objecting to that. I just, sometimes
if
people think, oh my God, do I throw this out?
If you're not sure, put it back in your side box, wait till you're back to the shop the next time, and ask somebody.
Okay. Another thing I'm looking at, okay, this one we already determined, that piece there. I know in the past video you mentioned fading.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of hard to tell between, is it faded or is it just dirty?
Can be sometimes, but you can also tell when you can tell when it's faded.
Well, especially, you got a new one.
When you compare
this one used to be this color.
Yes, exactly. And actually, the more we unroll this one, I think we are getting into some fade there. But you can definitely tell when it's faded or just, gently used. So, all right, well, that's helpful. And then, and then obviously too, just the how the ratchet is. If you gotta jump on it to get it to ratchet down, or it may be time to replace that ratchet as well. What
do you think, on average? I mean, our type of freight. What do you think the life of a strap is for us?
If they're taken care of well, they should last an awful long time.
Okay, so years.
Years, yeah. I mean, we're not, especially, if you do get something that has some sharp edges, freight-wise, get a piece of cardboard, get a little piece of carpet or something, or just something to put over that sharp edge before you put your strap around it. That will help protect the straps and get more life out of them.
Lastly, on straps, working load limit. Can you dive into that a little bit more and everything that's included on the label?
So we got this brand new strap here so that it's easy to see for everybody. But every strap will have a tag just like this on it, or should. If it doesn't, you have no idea what the working load limit is, and you should not use that strap for anything. But you find this tag, and somewhere on the tag, this one happens to be all the way down at the bottom, you'll see the letters WLL. That stands for working load limit. Next to it, you'll see the number of pounds that working load limit is. That means that is the maximum amount of weight that this strap should be used to secure. So this one in particular is 1,465 pounds, a little bit under 1,500 pounds, right? Now, your securement has to be more than what the weight of the load being secured is. So if we had a 3,000 pound pallet that we wanted to secure, one of these straps would not be enough. 2 of these straps would not be enough, because that will not equal over 3,000 pounds. So find your working load limit, and you want to have enough straps that you are over and above whatever the weight of the freight is that you're securing. If anybody has any previous... Keep in mind,
it could be multiple pallets.
It could be multiple pallets. But if anybody has any flatbed experience out there, that's where I learned it, was from when I did flatbed. You might have a 40,000 pound coil of steel, and 7 chains with their working load limit might get you to 40,000, but you have to have 8 chains because you need to be more than what the weight of your load is. Mm-hmm. So
makes sense. Okay, so we've talked about blocking and bracing. You mentioned the friction or the anti-skid mats. Mm-hmm. Anti-skid mats, so let's say currently for Keller, those are pretty much up to the shipper to issue those and put them down before they load the freight. Blocking and bracing could be a mixture sometimes. Usually
the shipper will supply the lumber and the nails, possibly the hammer. You probably should have a hammer in your side box anyways, mm-hmm. But most of the time they will tell you, hey, you need to block and brace this.
Okay.
And if they are requiring you to do so, they are usually the ones that supply the lumber and the nails.
And the straps are pretty much always us.
The straps are always us. You should always have a handful of straps in your side box. If you get short on straps because maybe you have to secure something with straps, you seal that trailer up and then you drop the trailer at a drop lot. Well, you can't break the seal and get your strap back out.
Okay, yep.
So now you're short a couple of straps. We have straps here at the shop. Ask anybody in the shop to get you some. Or if you have to, you can stop at a truck stop and buy a couple and scan the receipt into payroll and get reimbursed for it.
What's a good number to always have on hand?
I never wanted to be below maybe 5 of them when I was driving.
My last question is, it's easy for us to sit here and preach all these load securement types to teach you how to do them. But in real world, we know that sometimes you're sitting there in the dock, or you pull away, you're going to shut your doors, you peek at the freight, and it just does not look good. Your gut's telling you, do not go with it, or at least question it. You bring it up to a dock worker and they say, you're the first driver to ever have an issue, or we always load them this way, or coerce you in an even worse way. How do you suggest drivers approach that conversation with the dock worker on load securement?
Approach it with confidence, for one. If you approach it, hey, is there any way we can, you're going to get, nope. I've loaded 10 other trucks that way today and nobody said a word, get out of my face. They want the freight off their docks. They don't care what happens after that load leaves, because it's not their problem anymore. Now it's your problem. So if you have that load that you're asking yourself, should I go with it? In almost any situation, if I ever have to ask myself, should I? The answer is always no. If I'm not sure, I don't do it. So if you're not sure, don't do it, and make it clear. You don't have to be mean or be a jerk about it, but say, hey, this load isn't secured the way I would like it to be. I can't secure it any more than it already is. We need to do something different, or can we do something different here? I would like to think that most times you're going to get a person who will be like, yeah, sure, absolutely, let's see. But I'm not that naive. There's going to be plenty of them. They're going to be like, no, you either take it. And some places like, hey, take the load. If you don't want to take the load, then don't come back. You use the word coercion, right? A lot of drivers think of coercion as their dispatcher saying, I don't care if you're out of hours, that load has to get there, you have to go. I don't care if you're tired, you need to go. Yes, that is coercion, but you're backed up by the FMCSA at shippers as well. So 390.6, that's the coercion rule in the FMCSA regulations. It specifically mentions shippers in there. They are not allowed to coerce you into taking a load that you are not, comfortable taking, or that you don't think is safe to be transported. So you're also backed up by us here at Keller's. Call us in the safety department, call your fleet manager. We'll get our customer service reps to start working with them. And they're not, our customer service people aren't going to be talking to the person on the dock. They're going to be talking to the person that's in their customer service or their, carrier procurement department or whatever they call it there. And then they're going to take the message down to that dock worker and say, hey, here's what you need to do.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little bit longer. You might have to sit and wait, but you're the professional driver. It's up to you, because if you take that load and it shifts and something happens to the truck, something happens to the freight, something happens to you or anybody around you, that's your responsibility.
Yeah, you mentioned escalating it, the appropriate way through the chain of command. And I know from our safety department side and our customer service side and the customers, none of us like to deal with cargo claims. So when you send a photo of a visibly just poorly loaded or just not secure load, and we send that to their customer service, they will act quickly, because they don't want to be the one to fill out all the paperwork.
Right.
So that works really well.
And they don't want their products damaged before it gets to their customers. And they don't want to be on the hook, because a minivan got flattened, because of a shifted load either. So, it just, have that confidence. If they get to be jerks and they're mean about it, just politely smile and say, okay, let me go call my company, go back out to the truck. So one thing I do always suggest, though, is if you can help it, don't pull out of the dock until you looked at the load. Now, age of COVID and all that, we're not allowed inside a lot of places, and it happens more and more. If you have to pull out of the dock, pull out 4 or 5 feet, get up on the back of the trailer, inspect your load. Don't pull all the way out of the dock so that they can put somebody else into the dock before you're happy with that load. Because now all you got to do, if you're not happy, back up that 4 or 5 feet, you're right back in the dock.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, awesome. I know a lot more about load securement now.
All right. Hey, not a bad job interviewing.
Well, thank you.
Just want to, one more time, thank Sarah for joining us. And
Thank
she's
you.
got to go, so she's out of here. And that's going to do it for this installment of Where's the Truckin' Instructions. Join us next time on Safe TV. Have a great day.